Is there like a light or something, or do you not know unless I tell you that it's recording?
Jesus said he's the light of the world.
Right. That's not really what we're looking for.
He says, don't walk in darkness.
That's nice.
I am the light.
Alright.
Not me.
Alright.
But Jesus.
Right. Okay, so it's 4th of July. How do you feel about that?
I woke up this morning.
That's awesome. Thank God.
I skipped reading my Bible.
Ooh.
And I went on my computer and I did a blog post. I'm not sure if that was the best decision. It took me an hour, but after that, I went downstairs and made myself a breakfast.
What did you have for breakfast?
I had 2 eggs, a big piece of ham, and 2 pieces of toast with butter.
Nice.
Also, what I did was I watched this really great special called The Revolution on the History Channel.
What was that about?
About the Revolutionary War.
Get out.
And what it was a study of Washington. And it's really impressive. I was brought to the point of tears at one point.
Wow.
And we have a really special history. And you can really see how the word Providence really has a good meaning for American history.
Well, it's a really beautiful thing to remember on the 4th of July. Very cool.
Really funny. At one point, George Washington, all was lost, just about. He was retreating from the British forces. And it appeared that there was a lot of people that were just gonna, subject themselves to being subjects of the king for the sake of security. But George Washington rallied his troops, and in December of 1776, he crossed the Delaware, and he fought against these German mercenaries that were paid for by the British Empire, and he defeated them at Trenton. And his army was beaten, broken down at this point. Most guys didn't even have shoes, and 2 guys died merely on the march over to ambush this squad of guys.
Wow.
And George Washington, this is the first time he actually led his men into battle. And so George Washington led the forces across the Delaware through the night. And it was a powerful, it sent a message all throughout the entire colonies that America was going to stand. And Thomas Paine, who wrote Common Sense, wrote a piece right before this about the American Revolution, about how America needs to stand in these cold, dark days together. And he felt like his words were just as powerful as muskets. And so after he wrote this piece called American Crisis, he rode back into Boston and Philadelphia and printed this up and sent it all over the United States. It was a powerful message that America was going to stand for this. And finally, after the army beat the mercenaries in Trenton, George Washington and his troops went back to camp. And on December 31st, it was a turning point in American history, December 31st, 1776. And George Washington's men, their enlistments were up, so they were all going to go home. They didn't have shoes, they're freezing their butts off. And George Washington stands up and he says, our country needs you. And what he did was really smart. He took a risk, and he said, our country needs you, and if you stay, I'll pay you an extra $10 a month, which was a lot of money back then.
Sure.
And so, after a few moments, one soldier grumbled and said, well, I have nothing better to do. And he crossed the line, and he saved half of his army to continue to fight against the British. And the strategy was to outlast them, because people in Britain were thinking, how long is this war going to take? They assumed that the victory was, an assumption. But the Americans and the Loyalists outlasted the Empire, and independence was secured.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's a great show of leadership, because at one point it's pretty clear that George Washington wasn't a great leader to so many people, and there's actual people inside of his ranks that wanted to take his position. But in that dying hour, a moment of desperation, he crossed the Delaware and secured the independence for America.
Beautiful. Pretty crazy. It's pretty cool. It's a while back now.
And so it's really cool to see how against hope America was founded for the sake of freedom. And you know, I heard a quote. Somebody sent this to me via email, that they had the policy of having no king but Jesus. And I've been always kind of weary of political, you know, religious kind of connotations, because it can be, you know, manipulated. But just thinking about being back then, and being one of those guys fighting for freedom, something that's really powerful. It's a real kind of it's a real cool testament that makes Americans distinct, and I think exceptional in that respect.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you.